Good morning. So due to again some problem was there, you can just give me fast those who have joined your attendance. We are doing quadratic equation, a new chapter, introduction. Okay, students are joining, right? So just for 1 minute. Hello. Hello. बात कर रहे हैं class. So, timing student will join. Today we will first discuss about the quadratic introduction of quadratic equations. Okay, so I was discussing first in chapter 2 polynomials. We have discussed the linear polynomial standard form, that is ax plus b, and here the quadratic polynomial ax square plus bx plus c is a quadratic polynomial, right? In a quadratic polynomial, we have the highest power or the degree is 2. So, in quadratic polynomial, I have to give you some examples. Like I have here 2x square plus 5x minus 7. So, this is what? This is a quadratic polynomial. Highest degree of the variable is 2. Now, the next, if we have a variable in y, like 3y square minus 11y plus 1, this is again a quadratic polynomial in y. The variable here is y. Even we have 100t square. This is the polynomial, quadratic polynomial, because the highest degree of the variable is 2 here. Similarly, we have a variable x and it is minus of 5. This is a quadratic polynomial. Even if we have like simple 7x square, this is a quadratic polynomial. Here term is 1. 2 terms, single term, 3 terms. But when we are talking about quadratic equations, so quadratic equation we have when equal to sign, we have the equal to signs. This is the standard form of the quadratic equation, right? We can note down the standard form of the quadratic equation. Standard form, or we are also saying general form. General form of the quadratic equation, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Where ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and very important condition that this a cannot be 0, b can be 0, c can be 0, or even in both. Here what is a 100, b and c both are 0, but still this is the quadratic polynomial. But what to say, what equation when we are equating 0, 0, this is equal to 0, or x square minus 5 is equal to 0. So all these equations are the quadratic equations. Okay, some of these equations are in variable is x. Here the quadratic equations in terms of y, variable is y, and here it is t. So variable can be u, v. Even we have a quadratic equations like in this format, like we have 7u square minus of 3u plus 2 is equal to 0. This is the quadratic equation where the variable is u. The quadratic equations can be 4s square plus 5s minus 11. So you should know the very first exercise is based on your very first exercise is based on the quadratic equations. We have written in very different form the quadratic equations, and we have to tell whether the equations are the quadratic or not, right? So we have some examples, and the beginning example is based on the application. The quadratic equations are having a great application in our day-to-day life. Okay, so many situations where we are using the quadratic equations, right? And in this chapter 4, we have 4 exercises. We have the 4 exercises, right? In the first, we are studying about the introduction, that is 4.1, 4.2, right? Exercise 4.3, and last, that is exercise 4.4, right? So in this chapter, quadratic equations, quadratic equations, quadratic equations, what we will study? We will study first what are the quadratic equations, what are the quadratic equations which I have just explained you, quadratic equations, right? And the different ways of representing the quadratic equations. Always the quadratic equations will not be in the standard form, right? Like ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. They may be in very different forms. So very first exercise is based on the equations. We have to recognize whether the equation, in equation it is very important, there is an equal to sign. One is left hand side and one is right hand side. Then, and if equal to sign is there, it means both the left hand side and the right hand side, both they are equal to each other. That is the equation. Now, first we will say what are the quadratic equations. Their standard form. Some examples, right? After it, in exercise 4.2, we have the very basic concept of quadratic equations, and that is the method of. Before it, we have the method of factorization. Factorization of quadratic equation, right? And the important part, we can solve quadratic equations by method of factorization, and that is by splitting middle term. By splitting middle term, we can splitting middle term, right? Middle term. Next, in here 4.2 only, exercise 4.2. 4.1 is a very basic exercise we will discuss today, and in this second exercise we have the very important concept of completing square. To solve the quadratic equations by completing square method. Okay, square method. So it is important one. This is the main basis for the quadratic formula. This is the main, that is 4.4 exercise. We will study the quadratic formula. Before that, we have the exercise 4.3, that is based on the application in day-to-day life. So many situations. Now, in 4.3 we have so many tricky questions. In exercise 4.3 we have so many tricky questions. Here we have to reduce the equations. They are not quadratic equations. So equations we have to reduce them. Reduce them first. Reduce them to quadratic equations and then solve the quadratic equations to solve these equations or find the solutions of the various problems, right? Whereas the last one, that is the basic, that the topic is nature of roots. Nature of roots of the quadratic equations, right? So we have generally three things. When this is the quadratic formula we will discuss, minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. This formula is called the quadratic formula. Minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac, where this b square minus 4ac is called the discriminant. This is called the discriminant, and the discriminant will decide the nature of roots. So we have three conditions, right? So first, that condition is, that is when this b is greater than 0. Second, b is equal to 0, and third, that d is less than 0. So here when this discriminant, this value is greater than 0, we have to real and distinguish roots or different roots. When b is 0, two real and equal roots. And last, no real root exists when this value is less than 0. So this is all about this chapter. So we will start today with the introduction. So introduction, we have studied the standard form of the quadratic equations. The standard form, in the standard form we have discussed that standard form of the quadratic equations or general form, that is the general form, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. This is the standard form of the quadratic equations, right? Where a cannot be 0. Where the term a cannot be 0. Now it is very important condition that a cannot be 0. Now I have the example 1 is based on example 1. It is having two parts. Example 1 is having two parts. Let me read the statement for you. Represent the following situation mathematically. Represent the following situation mathematically. Here, John and Jivanti together have 45 marbles. Two are there, okay, maybe they're friends. Both of them lost 5 marbles each. And the product of the numbers of marbles they now have is 124. We would like to find out how many marbles they had to start with. Okay. So, how to frame this? What is the question? Two friends, one is John and one is Javanti. Both together have 45 marbles. How many marbles? 45 marbles. Now, according to question, if each one of them they lost 5 marbles each, then the product of their marble is 124. So So how to start, how to represent this problem, this situation mathematically, and how to solve. What is the question? That two, these John and Javindi, they have together 45 marbles. Each one of them lost 5 marbles each. 5 marbles John lost and 5 marbles Javindi lost. Now we have to find here that if the product of number of marbles they now have is 124. So let's understand here. Let one is having the mark. Let John or John, anyone is having John is having marbles, is having X number of marbles. How many? X number of marbles. Then Javanti, she will have the marbles which are equal to 45 minus X. Their total marbles they are 45. If anyone is having X marbles, then another is having 45 minus X. Now, if one is having X marbles and the another is having 45 minus X marbles, now according to question, if each of them lost 5 marbles, if they lost how many marbles? 5 marbles each. So now what is the situation? How many marbles they have? They have, one is having X minus 5, another is 45 minus X minus 5, that is 40 minus X. Their product according to question, we have X minus 5, and here when we subtract minus 5 here, so what we will get? We will get 40 minus X. So here is 40 minus X is equal to 124. Now when we open the bracket, then we have this equation is 40x minus of x square minus of 200 plus 5x is equal to 124. Or we can write this equation as taking right hand side minus 5x, this is 45x minus 45x, and here there is always 1 plus 200 is equal to 0. What I have done? All terms of left hand side I took towards right hand side, so I have x positive, x square is positive. So here we have, this is 200 plus that is 324 is the equation, right? Now this is this situation. What is the situation? Two friends, one is John and one is this Javanti, both have 45 marbles. In total they have 45 marbles, right? So out of these 45 marbles, if each one of them lost 5 marbles each, right, then the product of these marbles which they have left is 124. So we can solve these quadratic equations and we can find the answers. Okay. Whenever we are solving the quadratic equations, it will provide you two answers. Okay. So both may be right, or at least one will be the right answer for this solution. Okay. Same we have second part. Second part of the example that you can try yourself. Let me represent. A cottage industry produces a certain number of toys in a day, and these two parts in coming exercise we have to solve them. We have to find their solutions. Okay. So we will take these both again in the exercise. Although here they have solved, you can go through the second part, that is a cottage industry produces a certain number of toys in a day. Let the number of toys produced are x. The cost of production of each toy in rupees was found to be 55 minus the number of toys produced in a day. On the particular day, the total cost of production was Rs 750. We would like to find out the number of toys produced on that day. In very short, if I have to explain, so first you have to undergo for the statement of the question. You need to understand what is the statement, right? What they are talking about, what you have to find, and what is given. So interpretation of the question is very, very important, right? So here, what they are saying, example 1, second part. In book they will, you can, it is solved also, you can go through, but if I am taking, let the number of toys are x, let in one day the number of toys produced are x, let the number of toys produced in one day, that number is x, right? Now according to question, the cost of production of each toy was found to be 55 minus the number of toys. What is the cost? Cost is 55 minus number of toys produced, right? 55 minus number of toys produced in a day, and on the particular day the total cost of production was 750. What do you mean by this? The cost of one toy. It is the cost of producing each toy. Each cost is 55 minus x. Let x is the number of toys produced in one day. Right? And each cost, one toy cost 55 minus x. Now according to question, the total cost of all the toys is 750. So I hope you understood the statement. Statement is very simple. According to question, we have x into 55 minus x is equal to 750. So we have 55x minus x square is equal to 750. 55x minus x square, or you can write down x square minus of 55x plus 750 is equal to 0. So our motive here in the beginning is the situation is there. If this is the question, we can very easily frame the quadratic equation and we will solve. So now switch over to example number 2. Whereas these two parts, part 1, part 2, both in the coming exercise, when we learn how to solve quadratic equations, we will solve both of the equations. Here you should know what is the quadratic equation that we are discussing here, the application. Application of quadratic equations in our day-to-day life. So I hope you are getting and you can provide me the feedback. Now come to example number 2 is having 4 parts, right? Example number 2 is having 4 parts. So quickly I want to take, then I will take some of the questions. If you have some doubts from the previous chapter, last 10-15 minutes, I am interested to take your doubts. You can provide the feedback. So Anmol, thank you. There is only old one video. Okay. So whenever you are facing some kind of problem in the, especially in first class, from last 1-2 days, we are facing the problem in internet. So immediately join my YouTube channel, that is Grammar Prana. Okay. So you can no need to now give these instructions again and again, right? So example number 2, quadratic equations. Arpita is saying okay, thank you Arpita. Connectivity is smooth now. Thank you, Kamakshi. All clear. Thank you, Kamakshi. So here, example number 2 is saying check whether the following are the quadratic equations. We have the equations. Equation 1, that is x minus 2. I am talking example number. This is example number 2. Example 2. Page, it is at page number 72. Page 72. Check whether the following equations are quadratic or not. X minus 2 whole square plus 1 is equal to twice of x minus 3 first. Second one, let me write third one first, third, fourth here, and then second is here. Second I am writing, that is x plus 2. So go on solving. Third part, that is x into 2x plus 3 is equal to x square plus 1. And whereas third part is x into x plus 1 plus 8 is equal to your x plus 2 into x minus 2. These are the 4 parts of this example. And thank you Manpreet, thank you Farun, and Aradhya, all clear. Thank you Aradhya. So all in this part we know now. We are in a situation to recognize which is the quadratic equation. For equation there should be equal to sign, and the degree of the equation, highest degree of the variable is 2. It should be 2. A cannot be 0. Means degree of the equation, highest degree of the polynomial is 2. So let's check here. You can also try, open the bracket. So identities are very important. Here it is a minus b whole square. Here it is a plus b whole square. So if students, they are not able to remember these identities, cannot solve these questions. And these questions sometimes 2 marks or sometimes 1 mark in the examination. Okay? You have to see most of the time this kind of questions of 2 marks. If you are not able to remember this identity which we have studied in grade 9, then you cannot solve them. So here, this is a square plus 4 minus of 4x plus 1. This is plus 1 is equal to 2x minus 3. So when we take 2x here, this further implies that we have x square minus of 6x, 4x minus of 2x is 6x, and here that is 5 plus 3 is 8 is equal to 0. So this equation is the quadratic equation. This is the quadratic equation because ax square minus 6x, x square minus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. Similarly, we can solve the other parts also. Here you have to remember these identities. Here a minus b whole square, which is a minus 2ab plus b square. Here a cube plus b cube plus 3ab into a minus b, and here a cube minus b cube. Here again that is minus of 3ab into a minus b. So you have to remember, you don't have any option, right? So next we have the second part. You can multiply. Here we have second part, that is 2x square plus 3x is equal to x square plus 1. When we subtract, we have x square plus 3x minus 1 is 0. So this is also, third part is also quadratic. Fourth part, second part if you are doing. So here second part is 2, right? So here we can do it, that is x cube plus a plus this 3ab. 3ab means 3x into, that is x plus 2. A cube b cube plus 3ab into a plus b. So it is 6x. This is 6x. So here we have 6x square plus 12x is equal to x cube minus 4, and here we have 6. So we x cube get cancelled. We have 6x square plus 12x. Here it will come 8 plus 4 is. So this is also the second part is the quadratic equations. Second part is a quadratic equation, right? Next part you can do, that is here, that is x square plus x plus a, and here a square minus b square, that is x square minus 4. A plus b, a minus b, a square. Here I have used the identity a plus b into a minus b is equal to a square minus b square. So here x square and x get cancelled. We have 8 plus 12 is equal to 0, which is not the quadratic equation. This is not the quadratic equation. Fourth part is not the quadratic equations. So you can go through now exercise 4.1. Both 4.1 we have two questions. These two questions are as a homework. It is not my solving here on the board. I have explained you how to frame the quadratic equations, right? So exercise 4.1 is your homework for today. That is 6 hours. That is exercise 4.1, question number 1 and question number 2. Now let's revise exercise 7. We have question number 6. Question number 6. The statement is, draw the graph of the equations. Draw the graph of the equation. One is 5x minus y is equal to 5, and another is 3x minus y is equal to 3. 3x. Okay. And if you have some doubts from the previous chapter, your doubts are welcomed. Okay. If you have some doubts, so Shashank is saying, sir, can you solve the second part of exercise 3.7, question number 7. Okay. So here, let me take this doubt first. He is saying, thank you, Shashank. So here, if I got the time, I will explain this part also. We have the two equations. One is question number 7, part 2. First one is ax plus by, that is equal to c, and bx plus ay. We all know that the So some problem is there in connectivity. Just Shashank provide me the feedback whether I am live or not. So we have the equations ax plus by is equal to c. We have less time, just provide me the feedback. Anyone can, okay, Shashank is typing. So here, so we can solve only this. This is a simple one. We will plot the equations of these two lines here and the triangle which is formed. So here, please provide me the feedback. Anyone, whether you are able to see the class or even the board, whether the class is going over, is providing me the feedback. Let's. Arpita is saying, sir, audible and visible. Thank you. So how to solve this part? Let's write ax plus by minus c is equal to 0. That is equation number 1. And this is bx plus ay minus of 1 minus of c. This is how we can write common, that is 1 plus c. Why I am adding this form? Because I want to use here cross multiplication method. That is easy way to solve. Okay, we can solve with substitution and elimination also. Okay, so here what is x? X is equal to y upon is equal to 1 upon. So here we have b1. So we have this b into, right, minus of. So here we have this multiplication minus of 1 plus c. This is b1 c2 minus, that is minus of c into a, right. Now here we have this minus of c into b minus, right. So here that is a into again we can write minus of, that is c minus of 1 plus c, and last we have a into a, that is a square minus b square, right. So when we open the bracket, we will get, this implies that we have x upon, so here everything is multiplied, that is minus of b minus of bc, and here it is plus of ac. That is equal to y upon, again that is minus of bc, and here again when we multiply minus will become plus, that is a, and here again minus will become plus, that is ac. So it is equal to, that is a is same, that is a square minus b square. Either we can keep a square minus b square or a plus b into a minus b. So here what is the value of x? So here the x is, the value of x is equal to here a square minus b square, and here that is minus of, or we can take minus common outside and we can write minus b, or we can write in this form, let me take c, we can take common, that is minus of b minus of c into a plus b, right. Here we have two common, and what is y? Y here is, y is this one. From here we can solve the value of y, cross multiplying. Here the value of y, that is here minus of, there is a plus c is again common, and here a is positive, b is negative. So these are the, this is the value of y here, this is the value of y, and this is the value of x. So my dear Shashank, I hope you got it. Even you can solve it with the method of your substitution or elimination also. right? Cross multiplication is the shortest and the easiest method. So don't think that okay, this method is reduced, it may be a tough one. No, CBSE has reduced only those parts which are the easy one. So time is almost over. So thank you very much. God bless you all and work hard. Good day.